Customer service or die? You can't be serious. You must be wondering, am I crazy? Because they're two mutually exclusive things. They're two different things, right? Well, I don't believe so. And I think by the end of this video, you'll understand why. My name is Kevin Johnson, and I'm the CEO of Leverage Consulting, also the creator of Leverage You, an online university. So when I say customer service or die, I am 100% behind that idea and that concept. And here's why. If you've been paying attention since basically around March of 2020, if usually when I ask people, do you think things have changed since COVID came around? Yeah. So when you think about what's going on and when you look around at what's going on, and I'll tell you personally, I can't turn this thing off. I'm always looking around and watching and seeing what other people are doing, because sometimes it's a great time to zig while others are zagging. But also sometimes you have to look at what's going on and maybe not buy into the hype and maybe do something different than what everyone else is doing. So if you listen to other business owners, you watch the news, read the news, anything else, you'll start to understand that we get conflicting information about employment rates. We get conflicting information about what is going on in the world in terms of economics, employment, and so on. But here's what's going on. Pay attention when you are out shopping. So when I've been around, just in the last 2 weeks, I flew through a couple different airports recently. One of them, I just have to sit back and shake my head. There's a store in the Chicago airport where they don't even have an employee working in the store. You walk through a turnstile or a gate and you swipe your card and you go in and you find whatever you want. And then you come back out. And when you walk back through that gate, it charges your card for whatever you bought. Okay. No need for an employee. I've also been to Lowe's near my house. And at this Lowe's, they have removed almost all of the registers that would have been ran by an employee. So most all the checkout now is self-checkout. When you also think about grocery stores, most of them are starting to transition away from having a clerk or someone ring up your groceries and then bag everything and charge you for your groceries and send you on your way. What's going on in our world right now is that everyone is racing towards the bottom. Everyone is buying into the idea that no one wants to work. Well, I don't know about you. I don't buy that. Has our workforce changed? Absolutely. It has definitely changed. But I will also tell you there's tons of employees out there, tons of folks that are really looking for something new, better, or different. They're looking for better leadership, better management, a great place to work, somewhere where they can call home, family. And so when you think about, well, there's just no one out there who wants to work, no one out there who wants to provide customer service, I don't believe it. And it will start with you. You have to be the one that says, this is what we're going to do. And I, again, firmly believe it's customer service or die. And the reason I say that is when you have all these other competing companies out there that are racing to the bottom, and they're racing to the bottom to eliminate employees, what is the customer or the client left with? I have to find my own stuff. I don't even know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone to help me. I'm looking for someone to guide me. I'm looking for a reason to keep coming back, because guess what? When it comes to Lowe's, I could go to Lowe's, search for things on my own, or I can sit in the convenience of my own home, get on Amazon and find the same thing. Why do I need to go to Lowe's? That was a differentiating factor for Lowe's, is to have people there to help. And it's not just about Lowe's, it's many other corporations as well. But it's having someone there to help you and guide you, tell you you're making the right choice, tell you making the wrong choice, help you find the actual product, which may be somewhere on a shelf somewhere that you can't find. That's their point. I even watched a video today. Before I started my day, I watched this video, and it was a man in a Walmart, and everything was behind glass because they're afraid of losing something. So everything's behind glass. He pressed the button, I think he said 10 times, waiting for someone to come help him. And he was trying to buy $80 worth of items. And I don't remember what the items were, and it doesn't matter at this point, but he was there to buy $80 worth of items. And he literally said in his video, I'm going back out to my car, I'm getting on Amazon, I'm ordering all of it, because Walmart has locked everything up and they won't even let me buy the product. So why should you care? What should you do? So I have 5 tips, 5 ways you and your team can ensure the growth of your practice, growth of your business, and ensure that you are a solid player and you build your practice and build your goals in such a way that literally no one else in town could be considered a competitor. Okay. So here's number 1. Have an intake process. It may sound like a innocuous or maybe, a process oriented thing, not so fun, but you love an intake process when you encounter a business that has one. You love an intake process where people guide you, show you what to do, they welcome you. That's what an intake process is. When you have a new patient call your practice, what do they learn about your practice? What do they learn about what to accept or what to expect? What is the intake process? Because most times when I listen to a new patient phone call, it sounds like a call to the Department of Motor Vehicles. Name, address, phone number. Okay, that's what those calls oftentimes sound like. I even asked a group recently, how long are your new patient phone calls? And on one end of the room, somebody said 4 minutes. Well, personally, I don't know how you get it done in 4 minutes. But on the other end of the room, there was someone that said ours are somewhere between 12 and 15 minutes. So both groups are sitting there saying, how can you get it done in 4 minutes? And the other group is saying, what do you talk about for 12 to 15 minutes? I don't have time for that. But you have to remember, this is what sets the tone. This is the first interaction they have with you and your team. And when you have patients that show up in the chair and they don't know why they're here, when you have patients that show up in your chair and maybe they show up and they're not even ready for their appointment, you were expecting them to bring new patient forms, x-rays, all these other things. And they're like, I didn't know. No one told me. Okay. That's part of the intake process. Your intake process should be designed in such a way that it puts a smile on their face. They're looking forward and expecting to meet you and your team because it's like, this is so different. You want them to walk away and say, I wish my primary care physician office was as good as this practice. That's what you want. You want them to compare everyone else to yours and say, I wish they were just like them. So hone your intake process. Make sure that there's a way in which that the patients are educated, they are welcomed, and they know what to expect during their first appointment. So that was number 1. Number 2 is handoffs, because if we've done a fantastic job with the intake process, we should have information to share with the rest of our team. And it could be, well, I want to get, if there's anything that needs to be done procedure-wise, I want it done by a certain date. If there's anything that needs to be done, my biggest concern is insurance. Well, those 2 pieces of information, that would be fantastic to know if you're the provider or if you're the person who's going to see them first, the second, third, and so on. That's great information. It also demonstrates to the patient that we listened. So handoffs are key. Handoffs are a fantastic way. And if you learn something, if you're, let's just say you handled the second step or the third step of this new patient appointment, if you learn something, wouldn't it be fantastic if we shared that information with the next person in line? So that was number 2, handoffs. Also, what to expect. And I mentioned that as part of the intake process, but it doesn't stop there. The what to expect happens when they actually get to your office. So knowing what to expect might mean sharing who's the next person that you're going to see. Who should you look for next? If Mandy is coming out to greet the patient, say, Mandy will be out here to greet you shortly. That's part of the handoff process. But also, again, if you are as part of the what to expect, when you think about the what to expect, if you're taking x-rays, if you are, because a lot of times when you really sit back and you watch appointments, oftentimes it's just total silence. And sometimes I've even observed at times where it's like we have this inanimate thing sitting in our chair. Inanimate thing is the patient. But we have this inanimate thing sitting in the chair and we're doing our job, but we're not including them in this. We're not talking to them and telling them, this is what I'm doing next. We're doing this to prepare and get ready for the doctor. We're doing this to get you ready to take you out front. We don't do any of those things. So when you really think about every step of the way, every person, when you get ready to start something new and different with this patient, when you're getting ready to hand this patient off, or if you're getting ready and preparing them, eliminate all confusion, eliminate all guessing. That's actually a really great way to look at it, is just at any given point in time, if you could think to yourself, is there any possibility this patient has question as to what's going on right now or what's going on next? Answer the question. It's that simple. Okay. So number 4 is KYC. It's funny because banks actually have to follow this. This is a federal mandate that banks have to follow and use this form called KYC, which is Know Your Customer. So think about it for a minute. If you and your team followed Know Your Customer, Know Your Client, your patient, okay, then what is it that you can talk to them about? Do you talk, and I don't mean just one, and I don't mean one person in your practice does this. I mean every person in your practice does this for every patient that comes through. Because I know some of you listening to this will say, we do that. Well, I doubt it. I doubt that everyone does it. And I doubt that you do it for every patient that comes through your practice. So when you follow a KYC, then use their name. Because if I know you, I'm going to use your name. Bob, great to see you today. Okay. If it's their birthday, if you know you see the rest of their family, if they were referred to you by someone, whether it's a referral or it's someone that's already been through your practice before, think about that for a minute. Use their name, use their information, talk about them, talk about that person's family. Most people, if you talk about their kids, it puts a smile on their face. It gives them something to talk about. Most people love their kids. Talk about their kids. So also the same thing with their animals. If they have dogs, cats, whatever. And here's a key point, and even I'll call it a pro tip. Spend less time talking about yourself and talk about them, because you may have cats as well. You may have dogs as well. You may have birds. You may have something that you have in common. That's great. Okay. But try to use something that's more along like a 20-80 scenario. Don't talk about yourself for any more than 20% of the time. Talk about them 80% of the time. Yes, absolutely. They want to know more about you, but they really enjoy it when they get to talk about themselves. So think about that for a minute. 80-20 scenario, KYC. So this really brings us to the last one. And this is the chicken or egg. I could have put this first, or I could have put this at the end. But if you do the first 4 things that I mentioned, hopefully it will lead you to the 5th thing on my list, which is make sure they know you care. So if you use their name, if you demonstrate KYC, if you tell them what to expect, if in some way, shape, or form, and for every patient it will be different, but if you find your way to let them know you care about their health, care about their family, care about them, find a way to make sure they know you care. They will keep coming back. And when they keep coming back, they're going to bring their friends. They'll bring their coworkers. They'll bring the person in the dairy aisle at the grocery store, but they will bring everyone else with them. So when you want to know how to grow your practice, sometimes it doesn't take a lot of money. It takes customer service. And everything I mentioned on this list costs you $0. You don't have to spend a dime to grow your practice. All you have to do is know that it is customer service or die. So with that said, again, my name is Kevin Johnson from Leverage Consulting. I'm also the creator of Leverage You. If you like content like this, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification. And if you like this video, this is not my first one. You should go back and listen to the other ones as well.